is critical to prevent conflicts between LASAC, the state agency, and the National Electricity Regulator. Implementation should be phased and transparent, with clear tariff structures, investor protection, and strong incentives for local production, that is in-state, Lagos state production of the power sector equipment that is required to realize the objectives. The fifth sector we want to look at is in the gas. We are concerned that 13% decline in gas production was recorded in September 2025. This reduction, caused by vandalism and operational downtime, poses a great threat to energy security and the reliability of power generation. We urge the government to prioritize pipeline protection, community engagement, and consistent pricing frameworks to attract much more investment into the gas sector. Without stable gas output, the Decade of Gas initiative cannot deliver on its promise. Finally, we want to celebrate Nigeria's successful bids to host the Intra-Africa Trade Fair IATF in 2027. The choice of Lagos is a testament to Nigeria's leadership in continental trades and innovation. The Chamber is proud to play a central role in mobilizing stakeholders, promoting investment, and ensuring that the event delivers lasting economic benefits. Looking ahead, the Lcci believes that sustained economic recovery depends on synergy between fiscal and monetary policy. Fiscal reforms must emphasize efficiency and accountability, while monetary policy should remain predictable and supportive of the real sector. Nigeria must diversify its economy beyond oil by expanding value-added activities in agriculture, manufacturing, and the digital economy. Above all, institutional credibility and good governance remain the true foundation of investor confidence and sustainable prosperity. Distinguished gentlemen of the press, the path forward is clear. We must pursue stability through discipline, growth through diversification, and prosperity through partnership. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry reaffirms its commitment to constructive advocacy and collaboration with government, the private sector, and civil society. Our collective goal must be to translate macroeconomic stability into improved living standards for our citizens and more substantial competitiveness for our businesses. In conclusion, let us rededicate ourselves to building an economy that rewards productivity, upholds transparency, and serves every Nigerian household. Together, we can transform today's challenges into tomorrow's opportunities and move our nation steadily towards our shared prosperity. I thank you for your attention, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Please let's go down together for the President. Thank you, sir. Dear professional colleagues, as earlier said, we have an opportunity to engage with the President. That's why we have this summary. Our chair, the detailed with us, the detailed speech, which is about, I said, about 15, 16 pages, so you can pick your angles from it. But clearly, this summary is a paraphrase, I would like to say, of what the chamber would like us to amplify, give the needed publicity for. So on that note, I'd like to ask that we have, in case we have one or two questions that you, or clarity or clarifications you want the table to do, led by the President, please, let's have a show of hands. I can get you the microphone. You ask your questions, then we can move forward. Yes. Dr. Taiwo.
Good afternoon, sir. Another personality on the high table. My name is Taiwo Azan. I'm from Netadigo. My first question has to do with now we are in the last quarter. So I just want if the SCCI can really give us an overview of the last 3 quarters of the year. Has it really met the expectation of the business community? And if not, since the last quarter of the year that we are in, the final quarters, do you still expect that, that the confidence of the investors can really be boosted in the economy, looking at the economy presently? The second question has to do with the custom 4% FOB. I know that, that a lot has been said about the FOB custom, but the area I really want to know is that we knew that before the federal government has suspended the 4% FOB, and then suddenly the custom people started to deduct it or receive out from the importers. So now, if not because of the OPS that raised the alarm about it before the custom CG now intervene. So I just want to know, but what is going to happen to all those period of the 4% FOB that were deducted? What is the SCCI and other business community will really be doing in terms of intervening for the business community, like the importers or the exporters that must have already deducted these charges from them?
The News Agency of Nigeria.
Good day, sir. Good day, everyone. I'm sorry for coming late. Please, I wanted to ask, as we tilt towards the end of the year, we expect renewed, improved economic activities, particularly with the advent of the dirty December and all of that. We're at the end of October. What do you think government can do to support these economic activities for the period? How is it going to impact, the business environment, and what can they do to buffer some of like the security challenges and other economic challenges that may arise that period for consumers as well?
Thank you. Okay, maybe I shall allow the president to treat this if there is none. The man from Tribune is looking at me smiling. I know you want to shoot his questions. Okay.
Let's take all the questions.
Yes, you're welcome.
We'll distribute the questions among all of them.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Akin Adeokun from Nigerian Tribune. The first question is actually to satisfy my curiosity. I want to find out. I think before immediately this government actually came into office. One of the inputs from SCCI was that when the government said subsidies, I think one of the responses of SCCI was that was perfect, that was the way to go, and so on and so forth. Now, 2 years after, or more than 2 years after, do you still think it's perfect? Because it's obvious that we are experiencing crisis as far as that sector is concerned. Then the second question is actually this. There was this event that Man had recently, and they were actually talking about the need to promote made in Nigerian goods, patronize made in Nigerian goods and so on. And somebody later said, if you want to patronize made in Nigerian goods, that Nigerian manufacturers, or producers of such goods should also, up their games. So what exactly is SCCI doing to look at that, to look at it from that angle? Not that you say patronize made in Nigerian goods, and you discover that those goods are not even worth patronage. Then the third one has to do with this I think grumblings and panic in the beer sector, on this tax system. In other words, the government is planning to introduce, policy where a device will have to be installed, in all these plants where beer, is being brewed, so that the aim is to ensure that all bottles of beer, brewed in the country, are actually identified, so that they don't escape all these excise duties and so on. So, but the argument from operators in that sector is that, look, there's already a system in place, and if you introduce this, then it's going to be an additional cost, because the device that you are, installing, will be installed by foreign engineers, and the maintenance will be on us, and so in other words, it's going to be, operational costs will go up. So, what exactly are you? Are you not concerned that a business, a sector, that has such a very huge capacity to absorb, people in terms of, job creation? Are you not concerned that they are, that they are experiencing, or they are having such panic, especially regarding that policy? Then I think, yeah, for now, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I like that we'll handle all of this. If there's any other, then we can bring up to your table. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so the overview of the last quarter, I will make some comments around it, and then I would ask the DG to also make a comment, because you all see the DG is the one that amplifies our LCCI positions all the time. On the customs 4% FOB, I asked our Vice President, who is an industrialist, Princess Layo Okeowo. She has in fact met with the customs a couple of times to deal with this question, especially those that have been affected and those that are partially customs had that. So she will be able to address that. On subsidy removal and the whole issue around it, I think we have the people at the center of it. Dangote is sitting here. So I will ask Deputy President, who is a top executive in Dangote, to give us how that has actually the practical benefits of the subsidy removal and how it has impacted the economy. On the operational costs that is being talked about, I will ask our Vice President, Mrs. Fashanu, who is also an accountant and understands all your concerns about manufacturing costs and how to navigate it, and of course look at the government side, whatever the government is doing. On the support through the fourth quarter boost of the economy, there are various angles to it, various parts of the economy that there's the main tourist industry that you are looking at, the boosting of the Dirty December and everything around it. But there are other sectors around the economy, particularly something like power. And the Deputy President, Inale Kupulu, who is a power person, will talk about around that subject matter. And then the DG also make some input so that we can have a sort of broad spectrum of the issues. But I will start with some comment on the overview of the last 3 quarters. And yes, this is the end of the year, and it's a period for stock taking. Everyone, including LCCI, has been looking at it. In fact, our LCCI research, I remember, produced some sort of periscope. Where were we January 2025, and where are we now in the key parameters? How are we doing? And as much as possible, LCCI wants to always look at facts. The big picture is how people feel it. But what are the facts? Where was the foreign currency rates in January? Where is it now? The evidence is that it has been quite stable. So everyone agrees that the foreign exchange currency has been 1,005 plus or minus. everyone also agrees that the difference, the margin between parallel and central bank is now so narrow that sometimes you struggle to remember what is the real difference because it has come quite low. And sometimes for those tracking the economy, there are times where even the parallel market was higher than the CBN for a few days. So we can say those are facts that no one is going to dispute. So that improvement in a stable foreign exchange market it's something we can all see. And what that means is that economic actors have been able to plan. They have been able to say, if in fact some investors have said that they have done business in about 20 years in Nigeria, and that this last year and this year is a time where they have seen movements in foreign currency to be at a very, very narrow band, around 1,500. And that if Nigeria can sustain that, stable foreign currency can attract a lot of investment. And he gave himself as an example, is that they have factories in Hong Kong. And in the last 20 years, the foreign exchange rate in Hong Kong has been stable. And so when he was asked to put a factory in Nigeria, he said that, how do I bring a factory to Nigeria where for the last 20 years, I'm able to predict the exchange rate. And I know what the exchange rate in Hong Kong has been. So that is a very significant achievement that is driving the investment flows that we are seeing. When you hear that the Qatar is coming with 300 billion, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, they are coming with a lot of investments. There's a general consensus now that Nigeria has managed to find a way to keep our foreign exchange stable. And this quarter, also referring to the question by News Agency of Nigeria, that the boost to the economy you are finding in this quarter is not a sudden boost. It's the result of steady and careful tracking of the economy by foreign investors. That from 2024 to now, somehow we have managed. They never believed that Nigeria can maintain a stable foreign currency for more than 1 or 2 months before it goes haywire again. But so we are going into the fourth quarter, which is a certain amount of confidence, not only by foreign investors, but even more important for Nigeria and for us at SDI, is for Nigerians to have confidence in our own country. So you are seeing a lower tendency to speculation in dollars. Before, everybody wants to buy dollars and keep it in the hope that in 2 months' time, it will grow and you will make a killing. But it's no more making sense. If you bought dollars 1,005 in January, and now it's still 1,005, you're asking yourself, when will it go to 1,007 or 1,008 so I can sell it? So the answer to that question is there's a steady improvement in the big numbers, the macroeconomic metrics, exchange rate. How is it manifesting? Lower inflation. The lower inflation that is coming is because the imported inflation is being reduced significantly. We were importing inflation each time the exchange rate goes up. But that imported inflation has almost stabilized because an importer who has been importing goods in the last 1 year has imported at the same rate. So that will be a picture to that. I would like to go to the manufacturing sector and the FOB and ask Vice President Prince who is right in the trenches in your question. She deals with it. It's a day-to-day matter. So, Princess.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. All protocols observed. To me, it's just a clever way of heating up the manufacturing sector, because federal government said, yes, it should be suspended. I've been a victim because they said it's suspended, but the 4% was charged. We were even looking up to the press conference that Man and Customs did, that, okay, we will not pay it. Let's wait till the outcome of the meeting. But at the meeting, it was tactically again turned down. The customs boss said, well, except if you are bringing in humanitarian things into Nigeria, that is when you can avoid the 4%. But what the federal government and customs should look at is that manufacturers, they are bleeding. How can you say only humanitarian? Humanitarian, let's even look at after now. I mean, we are saying, oh, Nigeria, we are the giant of Africa. But look at what other countries in the ECOWAS region they are doing. Now, of course, the 4%, we won't swallow it. We are going to pass it to the end user. Well, they said recently, last week, about a few days ago, they said they've categorized some HS code, and that whoever is under that HS code, that we should apply so that we can be exempted. I'm seizing this opportunity to appeal to the federal government. They should come with clean hands. Manufacturing sector, we are bleeding. It's not only the humanitarians, except if they want to continue heating up the economy, because the inflation will continue. So they should please help us eradicate this 4% totally, not suspending, but total removal, because manufacturing is the bedrock of every economy. We have signed into AFTA, and if we claim we are into AFTA, we should help manufacturers to push their goods into the ECOWAS region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Princess. So we'll go to the Deputy President on the subsidy removal and the whole petroleum refining environment and how it has impacted the economy, because they are the center of the aftermath of removal and our capacity to refine in Nigeria and everything around that space. Mr. Konotomon.
Well, good afternoon, all. Well, subsidy, I think most people understand that it had to go. It was too expensive for the country, and we have to take it. And I think it was supported by most people. It will, of course, give some extra cost, but in the long run, it will not be sustainable for the country to pay out all this money. If the economy cannot take it, in the long run, the country cannot take it. And I think it was, in general, support on that one. What is very important is that we get more activity in the country. Let me just say something about petrol. We have Dangote refinery. I don't think there have been many days without petroleum product, being diesel and petrol in the country after the refinery started. It gives some kind of stability, and instead of spending so much money on import, well, now we can export, and it will give more money in. That is for the petroleum product. And if you also look at where the subsidy was very strong, was very much on the petroleum side, on that area. Well, now with local production, I don't think we have seen major price increases except the removal of the subsidy. So it's a good thing. Let Nigeria produce itself, let Nigeria export, and let the price find its correct level. There's other areas that is also very important. Local production. We have to get local production. And when we have this Dangote oil refinery, Dangote fertilizer plant, instead of import, we are exporting a lot. And it brings money into the country and into the economy. It's very important. Being other areas that we are producing, that the country is producing, I'm not only talking Dangote, I'm talking every other areas. The export in Nigeria is gone up. Activity level for everything that is exporting is to a completely different level now than it was before. So I'm very positive for Nigeria. Artificial contribution like subsidy, well, it cannot stay for a long time. It will be some misusing. And well, what we have seen, I think Nigeria is moving in the right direction. We have to take the bull by the horn sometime, and I think this was done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So our Deputy President, Engineer Kukuluyi, will speak to the question around the fourth quarter support, the things that the government should do. And our Deputy President is in the power space and is also in the general infrastructure space. So he will have a few comments on what government can still do to boost this last quarter of the year, as DJ Zensi is asking us.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The last quarter of the year, every year, has always been very important to the Nigerian public, and more importantly, to the businessmen, because the activities at that time is always at the highest. We know power is an enabler. Without most of our activities cannot be achieved. Very important, and I think Nigeria with government are looking into renewable power, where power can be segmented to for our need, for individual need, commercial, or even at home. I think the government needs to somehow encourage people by lowering, making it possible at a lower rate for people to be able to get that power. They are our national grid. We'll be talking about that for years. We need the national grid to need to be improved on. But you talk about the dirty December. What have suddenly put Nigeria on the map of the whole world? There are other enablers for that dirty December. Power is very important. Infrastructure is very important. People move around for that dirty December. But why do we have it? Fashion in Nigeria today, it is the tools of the whole world. Everybody now around the world want to dress like Nigeria. Want to wear. They are now using our designer, and people want to see where it has socks. Food, very important now. Our food are well known. We talk so much about jollof rice. Many people want to come to Nigeria to experience it. Even our ceremony, the wedding ceremony and all other ceremony. I think economy that young people has made it possible to put country into that map. The government need to look into it. How do we encourage all over the world to say that that dirty December can be more than a month? Can be around to about 3 months. Maybe many people will start saying, hey, from September, the way all of us go to Europe during the summer, and then when the weather is too cold for them too, they come to Nigeria during their own winter, which we have a permanent summer. I think that is what we need. Those enablers like power, infrastructure, whether it's power, whether it's good road, good drainage, and in their destination, we know Lagos is the destination of most of those people visiting Nigeria during December. I know Abuja and some other state capital. We need to improve on our infrastructure. We know government is doing something. even in the last 2 years, but we need to do more. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. So on Made in Nigeria and all the issues around it, I ask the digital make some inputs there.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon to our media partners. It's interesting that in the last couple of months, talked about the last 3 quarters, the country has evolved economically in a lot of ways. There are sectors that have developed and improved in the last couple of months, the ICT sector, even the agri sector in terms of processing, there has been improvement in that area. The tourism sector, the creative sector, these sectors have suddenly started to grow significantly. And we must acknowledge that. It's also been very tough. The reforms have been very tough for Nigerians and the business community as well. And at the chamber, we have constantly spoken about the issues and how government can support the business community better with improved guidelines and regulatory framework. For us, so interest rates, we've seen a slight downturn. That means that hopefully there'll be more access to finance won't be such an issue as well. That increase in prices will happen at a lower rate. So we see that some of the reforms that have been very burdensome, that in their own ways they are adding this community. I'm hopeful that into next year that this improvement will enjoy some of the gains from the reforms that we have. But we see a very resilient economy. I'm sure there's some places where if what has happened in Nigeria happened in some countries, it will be worse. But Nigerians have been very resilient. The businessmen here have been quite resilient. And I guess that's the core of our journal that we're about to release today. We have also spoken a lot about the cost of doing business in Nigeria. Power is an issue, but also other things, utilities, logistics, the security issues. These have all contributed to the cost of doing business. And like you talked about made in Nigerian goods. If we are to promote made in Nigerian goods, we must have an environment that will support production of made in Nigerian items. And having said that, apart from having the environment that will support that, we also have to have standards that are applicable to foreign standards. We must have standards whereby if we produce something, it's comparable. So we need to improve in the way we produce our items. The regulatory agencies need to do more. Need to do more working together with the business community to ensure that the standard of the items that we produce, that the standards are as high as should be. But generally, let's ensure that the cost of doing business is manageable for businesses, because if the cost of doing business remains as high as it is, chances are that we'll continue to, the quality of products will continue to deplete. So we need to do something about the cost of doing business and ensure that the productive capacity of Nigerians remain high for us to match the policy on made in Nigerian goods. Often we say we put out these policies, but then we don't look at how do we ensure that these policies will work. With the made in Nigerian policy, it's as great as it is. If we don't ensure that the implementation happens, it won't, at the end of the day, we won't get the benefits that we want. But we believe that we are, as the chamber, we are constantly engaging government and informing them of how things are progressing and the implementation challenges. And we hope that as they listen to us, that things will continue to get better. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go to our Vice President, Mrs. Fashanu, on the questions around the additional cost of production for, in fact, not just the breweries, but other organizations that are being forced to put systems in place for government to monitor whatever they want to monitor. It's all around the cost of doing business.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Each time I read about the government policies, one thing that comes to my mind is that the native doctor that says he will hold the rains from falling, his children will not eat stone. So what the chamber does is that we have organs of advocacy, they are sectorial groups. The implication of this new tax law to the common man, one place that to start from is that every individual, every small business owner, this is a time to get your books in order. This is the time to study the implication. How will this affect your business so that you don't get caught on the wrong side of the law? Particularly the sectorial groups is an organ that the chamber uses, which is very effective. One is that there are events that are organized that the regulators are invited, representative of government are there. So it's not even a matter of we're lying to you. Take, for instance, the manufacturers of beer. If they're already taxes, a lot of these tax laws, there are currently laws in place that already addresses it. So definitely there are some places of overlap. So what the chambers is saying is advocacy will clarify, will bring to the table that this is the cost implication. And ultimately, part of the reasons why we pray that they listen is that, again, it's going to be the consumers that is going to bear the brunt. So for the manufacturers of beer, if you are not members of the chambers of LCCI, this is the time to join the chambers, because that gives you an opportunity to bring your facts to the sectorial group and be able to push that the government reconsiders and the agencies in charge are able to look at your figures. So we're not just working on emotions, but working with the data and the fact.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're done with the questions. So this, do you want to?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you so much. The questions are now over. As mentioned earlier, we're having this business environment journal presented to the media today, and it's great opportunity to have my colleagues have copies with you. I believe you have, one of us was telling me, oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Beyond Mountain Beautiful, that's Guardian newspaper. I'd like you to give a voice to it. We'll have a short statement made by the president. Then we'll have them officially present to the media today. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen of the press. It's a great pleasure to present to you the LCCI Business Environment Journal, which has been distributed. It's a flagship publication of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce to provide credible insights into the realities of doing business in Nigeria. And it's in fact the indication of the upgrading of our LCCI research capacity. This is a publication resulting from the internal work of LCCI research, and is our own contribution going forward to economic conversation. A key highlight of this edition is the LCCI Cost of Doing Business survey. It's conducted among operators in various industries, and it reveals some very interesting data. 62%, like manufacturers are saying, they saw increase in cost of raw materials. 41% saw increase in a rise in cost of security. 80% saw a rise in electricity costs. 54% increase in the cost of alternative energy. If you don't want to use the main, so the others, alternative energy are also costing a lot more money. Energy and logistics expenses, 50% increase. So it does give the facts, the figures of what business people are going through. So the data points a clear message. The cost of doing business in Lagos and across Nigeria is rising and is becoming unsustainable for many enterprises, especially the small ones. So this LCCI Business Environment Journal is our contribution from LCCI to informed advocacy and evidence-based policy dialogue. So for all of you media, if you look at the content, you will see practical evidence of material that speaks to some of the issues. We envision that it's a platform that amplifies the voice of business, provides data for decision-making, promotes transparency and accountability in economic governance. It also provides raw material for analysts in the media on the economy, data that is available and can be validated by LCCI research. On behalf of the Chamber, I am pleased to present to the media today the LCCI Business Environment Journal. So,
President, gentlemen of the press, will have the leadership officially holding and presenting to us. Yes, sir. Yes, we need to remove all of this. Yes. You look off the top. Look, you need to go nearer. Okay, move closer fast. Let's go. Take it. Deputy President. Take it. You need to hold this. Look off. Look off. Okay. Yes, I'll get the pictures across us.
No, is there?
Are you good? Oh, gentlemen of the press, what I can also assure you, I will get across to us that little draft speech that the president made typically. Sorry, Dr. Tako, you are actually in a hurry. Once again,